Om Namah Shivaya. The sacred sound reverberates through temple halls. It echoes in mountain caves where sages meditate. Om Namah Shivaya. I bow to Shiva, the auspicious one, the transformer of worlds. Tonight we journey into the heart of one of Hinduism's most profound hymns, the Lingashtakam, 8 verses that reveal the deepest mystery of existence itself. This is not merely a prayer. It is a philosophical revelation wrapped in devotional poetry. The Lingashtakam emerges from our ancient tradition like a flame from darkness. Its composer remains unknown to history, but the wisdom it carries has illuminated countless souls across millennia. Each verse describes the Shiva Linga, not as an idol to worship, but as the ultimate symbol of the infinite divine. Let us begin with understanding what we truly approach. The word linga means sign or symbol. It points beyond itself to something vast and formless. The Shiva Linga represents Brahman, the absolute reality without attributes, the source from which all existence flows. Many misunderstand this sacred form. They see only stone or metal. They miss the profound philosophy it embodies. The linga is the formless taking form, the infinite compressed into finite space so the human heart can approach the divine. Listen now to the first verse as it flows from Sanskrit into meaning.
Brahma Murari Surarchita Lingam, Nirmala Bhashita Shobhita Lingam, Janmaza Dokha Vinashka Lingam, Tat Pranamami Sadashiva Lingam.
The linga worshipped by Brahma the creator, by Vishnu the preserver, by all the celestial beings. It shines with pure sacred ash, gleaming white like moonlight on snow. This linga destroys the sorrows born from endless cycles of birth. To that linga of eternal Shiva, I bow. Picture this scene. Brahma seated on his lotus throne, 4 faces turned toward the sacred pillar. Vishnu descending from Vaikuntha, his dark form prostrating before the light. Even the gods approach with reverence. Even they who shape universes bow before this mystery. The sacred ash mentioned here is Vibhuti. Devotees smear it on their foreheads. It represents the destruction of ego, the burning away of all that separates us from truth. When we see the linga adorned with ash, we remember. All forms dissolve. Only consciousness remains.
Devgana Vinutha Lingam, Kamdana Karunakara Lingam, Ravna Darpa Vinashna Lingam, Tat Pranamami Sadashiva Lingam.
The second verse sings of the linga praised by celestial hosts, the destroyer of Kama, the god of desire, yet simultaneously the ocean of compassion, the humbler of Ravana's pride. To that eternal Shiva Linga, I bow. Here the hymn reveals Shiva's paradox. He burns Kama to ashes with his third eye. Desire itself trembles before his gaze. Yet he overflows with Karuna, compassion. He destroys only to liberate. He appears fierce only to those who cling to illusion. The story comes alive. Kama attempts to disturb Shiva's meditation. He shoots his flower arrows at the meditating Lord. Shiva opens his third eye. Fire blazes forth. Kama's form dissolves. But later, moved by the tears of Kama's wife, Shiva restores him. This is divine justice, swift but never without mercy. Ravana too learned this lesson. The 10-headed demon king grew drunk on power. He attempted to lift Mount Kailash itself. Shiva simply pressed down with his toe. Ravana lay trapped, his strength useless. In that moment of helplessness, he composed the Shiva Tandav Stotra. His greatest hymn of praise was born from his greatest humiliation.
Sarv Sugandha Sulepita Lingam, Buddhi Vivardhana Karana Lingam. Siddh Surasura Vandita Lingam. Tat Pranamami Sadashiva Lingam.
The third verse describes the linga anointed with all fragrances. Sandalwood paste cooling its surface. Rose petals scattered at its base. This linga enhances wisdom, expands consciousness. Siddhs, perfected beings, worship it. Gods and demons alike bow before it. The fragrant offerings carry deeper meaning. Sandalwood represents purity. Its coolness calms the fire of worldly desires. Rose petals symbolize love without attachment. Their fragrance rises as prayers ascend. Each offering transforms the devotee. The external ritual becomes internal purification. Notice how the verse says this linga enhances buddhi. Not mere intelligence, but discriminative wisdom. The power to see beyond appearances. To separate the real from the unreal. This is Shiva's greatest gift. The destruction of ignorance through direct perception of truth.
Kanaka Mahamani Bhushita Lingam. Fanipti Veshtita Shobhita Lingam. Daksha Suyajna Vinashna Lingam. Tat Pranamami Sadashiva Lingam.
Golden ornaments adorn the fourth linga. Precious gems catch lamplight and scatter rainbows. The serpent king Vasuki calls around it. This is the destroyer of Daksha's arrogant sacrifice. To this Shiva Linga, I bow in reverence. The image blazes with symbolism. Gold represents incorruptible purity. Gems reflect the many facets of divine light. But see how the deadly serpent rests peacefully here. Vasuki, whose poison could destroy worlds, becomes an ornament. This shows Shiva's power over death itself. The reference to Daksha's sacrifice opens one of Hinduism's most dramatic stories. Daksha was Sati's father. He held a grand yajna, a fire sacrifice. He invited all the gods except Shiva. The insult burned in Sati's heart. Against Shiva's wishes, she attended. There Daksha publicly humiliated her husband. Unable to bear the shame, Sati threw herself into the sacred fire. When news reached Shiva, his rage shook the three worlds. He manifested Virbhadra, his fierce aspect. This terrible form stormed the sacrifice. Gods fled in terror. The yajna ground became a battlefield. Daksha's head was severed. Only later, when other gods pleaded for mercy, did Shiva restore him. But with the head of a goat. Pride had transformed into humility.
Kumkuma Chandna Lepita Lingam. Pankaza Hara Sushobhita Lingam. Sanchita Papa Vinashna Lingam. Tat Pranamami Sadashiva Lingam.
The fifth verse glows with vermilion and sandalwood. Lotus garlands drape the sacred form. This linga destroys accumulated sins across countless lifetimes. Before this eternal Shiva, I bow with complete surrender. Kumkuma, the red vermilion powder, represents Shakti's energy. Sandalwood brings cooling grace. Together they show the union of opposites. Power and peace. Passion and detachment. The lotus garlands symbolize purity rising from muddy waters. Consciousness emerging from the material world. The destruction of Sanchita Papa deserves deep contemplation. These are not just the sins of this lifetime. They are the accumulated karmic impressions from countless births. They weigh on the soul like invisible chains. But in the presence of the linga, in the light of true devotion, even these dissolve. This is the power of divine grace. It can burn away eons of bondage in a single moment of surrender.
Devgana Mandita Sevita Lingam. Bhaver Bhakti Bhirivacha Lingam. Dinakara Koti Prabhakara Lingam. Tat Pranamami Sadashiva Lingam.
Angels serve this sixth linga with flowers and incense. It blazes with the light of millions of suns. Devotees approach with pure feelings, with bhakti flowing from their hearts. To this radiance beyond measure, I offer my prostrations. Picture the celestial scene. Gandharvas sing divine melodies. Apsaras dance in perfect rhythm. The air shimmers with devotion made visible. This is how the subtle realm appears to those with inner sight. Every prayer becomes music. Every offering becomes light. The phrase Dinakar Koti Prabhakara deserves pause. The light of 10 million suns. This is not poetic exaggeration. This is the mystic's attempt to describe the indescribable. The light that illuminates consciousness itself. The radiance that makes sight possible. When the inner eye opens, this light floods awareness. It blazes brighter than any external fire.
Ashta Daridra Vinashna Lingam. Udbhava Karana Lingam. Ashtashvarya Pradhana Lingam. Tat Pranamami Sadashiva Lingam.
The 7th verse proclaims victory over 8 types of poverty. Not just material want, but spiritual impoverishment too. This linga grants 8 supernatural powers. The siddhis that perfect beings possess. Yet it points beyond even these to the source of all manifestation. The 8 forms of poverty include obvious ones like lack of wealth or health. But the subtler forms cut deeper. Poverty of wisdom. Poverty of peace. Poverty of love. Poverty of purpose. The linga's grace addresses them all. It fills every emptiness with divine fullness. The 8 powers, Ashtasiddhis, fascinate spiritual seekers. Anima, the ability to become minute. Mahima, to expand infinitely. Laghima, to become weightless. These and 5 others represent mastery over physical laws. But wise devotees know. Even these miraculous powers are distractions. The real siddhi is recognizing one's true nature. Everything else is mere display.
Surgya Guru Surarchita Lingam. Swarg Pavarga Pradayaka Lingam. Hatkareshwara Lingam. Tat Pranamami Sadashiva Lingam.
The 8th and final verse completes our journey. This linga embodies divine qualities. It bestows both heavenly pleasures and ultimate liberation. It is the Lord of the heart's inner shrine. Before this supreme mystery, I bow with my entire being. Notice the profound choice offered here. Swarga, the celestial realms of pleasure. Apvarga, complete liberation from all realms. Most spiritual paths offer one or the other. Shiva offers both. Enjoy divine pleasures if you must. But remember, even heaven is temporary. Only moksha, liberation, is permanent. Hatkareshwara reveals the linga's true location. Not in temples, though they serve their purpose. Not in sacred cities, though they inspire the heart. The real linga dwells in the hridaya, the spiritual heart. It beats with your pulse. It flows with your breath. When you discover it there, external forms become unnecessary. Yet paradoxically, they also become infinitely meaningful. Now we must explore the cosmic story behind all Shiva Lingas. The tale of the infinite pillar of fire. In the beginning, Brahma and Vishnu debated supremacy. Each claimed to be the greater god. Their argument grew heated. The universe trembled. Suddenly, a pillar of blazing light appeared between them. It had no beginning they could see. No end they could reach. Brahma transformed into a swan. He flew upward for thousands of years. Still the pillar stretched beyond sight. Vishnu became a boar. He dug downward through countless layers of creation. Still the pillar descended into mystery. Both gods returned exhausted. Then the pillar opened. From its heart stepped Shiva. His form blazed with gentle fire. I am the source, he declared. This pillar is my true form. The formless made visible so consciousness can approach the Absolute. Brahma and Vishnu prostrated immediately. Their debate dissolved into worship. From that cosmic moment, the tradition of Linga worship began. Every Shiva Linga remembers this infinite pillar. Every one points beyond itself to the mystery that has no limits. This story gave birth to the 12 Jyotirlingas, 12 places where Shiva manifested as pure light. Somnath in Gujarat, where the moon god himself worships. Mallikarjun, where Shiva and Parvati reside as Ardhanarishwara. Mahakaleshwar in Ujjain, where time itself bows. Each carries special power. Each offers unique blessings. Devotees traditionally recite the Lingashtakam during Abhishek, the ritual bathing of the Linga with sacred substances. Water, milk, honey, ghee. Each material carries symbolic meaning. Water purifies. Milk nourishes. Honey sweetens the bitter taste of worldly existence. Ghee feeds the inner fire of devotion. The recitation flows best in the early morning, when darkness gives way to light, when the mind emerges from sleep's dissolution. This mirrors the cosmic moment when consciousness emerges from the unmanifest, when the infinite chooses to appear as finite form. Some devotees whisper these verses during meditation. Each repetition deepens understanding. The Sanskrit syllables create vibrations that align consciousness with divine frequency. The meanings penetrate beyond the thinking mind. They reach the heart where true knowledge dwells. Others chant the Lingashtakam while walking around sacred sites. The rhythm matches footsteps. Movement becomes worship. The journey itself becomes the destination. With each circumambulation, the ego's circumference grows smaller. Finally, it disappears entirely into the center. The beauty of this hymn lies in its accessibility. You need no temple to recite it, no priest to guide you, no elaborate ritual preparations. The Linga it celebrates exists in your own heart. The qualities it describes shine in your own consciousness. The light it praises illuminates your own awareness right now. Yet this does not diminish the power of external worship. When thousands gather in great temples during Mahashivaratri, when millions pour milk on sacred lingas simultaneously, when entire nations vibrate with Om Namah Shivaya, something extraordinary happens. Individual devotion becomes collective awakening. Personal transformation sparks universal change. The Lingashtakam reminds us why Shiva chose this particular form. Not to limit the infinite, but to make it approachable. Not to reduce the absolute, but to give it a doorway into human experience. Every time you see a linga, remember the pillar of fire. Every time you offer water or flowers, remember you are worshipping the source of existence itself. This is the gift of symbolic worship. It transforms ordinary material